Oh yeah, this side ain't any better. Looky there. That's no bueno. This spar has got some structural issues, some really bad ones. We're gonna go ahead and set up our rope in a way that is mindful of this so that we don't die. What's up everybody? Today we have ourselves a rotten, nasty maple removal. We're gonna climb it. So at first glance, this tree right here doesn't look super bad. It's got, you know, a big dead section up there at some point, but that's not even that scary. And it's fairly tall. I don't know if it's maybe 75 or 85 feet tall. It's a good tall tree, but the scary part is on the backside. As you can see here, we got a substantial amount of decay, and I don't think it's real apparent on camera. I'll have to show you when I get up there, but this spot right here in this union is particularly bad. Then way up there even further, there's a big union as it leans out this way, and that union I can see through from the ground. So this tree is just really sketchy. Thankfully, there's still one really good tall spar in it for me to put my climbing rope on, so that's what we've done. This one right here looks solid as far as I can tell from the ground, and I can test it from the ground because we shot up there with the line. Some folks like to just spike up a tree like this when there's a lot of hazards so they can cut weight off and that kind of thing, and that's fine because then you can inspect it as you go. But I really like to put a rope all the way up in the top first so that way I can test the tree before I put 1 foot on the tree. I'll still go up and spike it and cut some limbs off as we go and give it a good look-see so that way I know I'm not setting myself up for something super dangerous, but I still like to put a rope up in the top. It's just worth the time. I've walked around this tree and looked at it as much as I can from the ground. The only thing left to do is to start climbing and give it an inspection as we go up. This tree is not breaking really easy. It's still pretty strong where it's good. Well, we're up here now and we can see the extent of this decay. It's pretty deep. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that's not poking out the other side of the tree. This is, I don't know, what is this, probably 20 or 24 inches long total. I can stick it all the way in there and still have plenty of tree that it's not covering. And nothing's would appear solid on this side. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe there's some stuff we can see there. Yeah, I wonder if this hole goes all the way through. Doesn't look like it because it's got water in it. Nope, that's holding water. Ew, look at that. That's nasty. Alrighty, up we go. Oh, I'm peeing water all over me. That's gross. Here's another cavity. Ooh, that one's pretty extensive too, right? And this is the stem we're tied into. So, that's not great. We don't love that. But everything else aside from that big spot of decay down there hasn't been too intimidating. Just a little bit of stuff here and there. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably cut that dead thing off over there and then get rid of this. So we've got as little weight as possible on our climbing spar, and then we'll get on to that over there. Just a smidge too long to land perfectly flat after one rotation. I want a bigger saw to cut that because the way I want it to fall, I need to be able to cut fast. Alrighty, now this thing leans out over some smaller trees and some other big trees, and it's mostly dead, and there's not a lot of high value obstacles down there, so we probably could afford to just hinge it over, but I'm going to try and drop it kind of butt first and see if we can't minimize our collateral damage here. Well, shame on me, I didn't get my cuts lined up as well as I thought I did. I mean, you saw at the beginning, I thought I had them perfect, but I didn't, and that big piece tried to take my fancy new Milwaukee saw from me. That wasn't very nice of it. Really well with minimizing our drop zone though. It didn't tear up any other trees, didn't hit anything else. It did kind of booger up the yard, but it's right there at the edge and that'll be okay. I was willing to take that sacrifice over sacrificing some small saplings because that's not that hard to fix. Planting trees takes some time. We cut the rest of this stub off now. Alright, we got this side all wrapped up then. That's easy. This is as far as we're going to get. When we're done with this tree, we'll come back and we'll tip this whole top out into the lawn there. But now we got to work on this side. And I can't free fall most of this side because it's over some bushes down there that have been planted. And it's close enough to the road that if something falls into the road, that could be a real big hazard. This is like a 40-mile-an-hour road. And that's just a little too fast to have guys out there trying to scurry stuff off the road quick before somebody hits it. So we're gonna have to rig. The challenge that poses is that this spar has got some structural issues, some really bad ones. So we're gonna go ahead and set up our rope in a way that is mindful of this so that we don't die and we don't hurt anybody below us. So that'll be fun. Oh yeah, this side ain't any better. Looky there. That's no bueno. That's been like that for a long time too, if you see all that callus wood build up. Oh boy. Well, further inspection of this whole situation has got me a little more hesitant to climb above it than I was from the ground. The reality is I could probably get away with it. This has been this way a long time. It's faced a number of windstorms we had this summer. It has all the leaf weight off of it. There's a bunch of things in my favor. There's just obviously this large cavity, crack, decay situation that's not in my favor. So I don't like to live in the can probably get away with it category. So we're gonna change the plan a little bit here. We're gonna take a little bit more risk of damaging some stuff on the ground to reduce the risk of getting hurt. And I hate making that decision because a good tree climber doesn't put obstacles on the ground at risk. But a good tree climber also makes sure he can return to work tomorrow. So the plan that we're gonna do now is we're going to do I gotta go up there and at least cut out that grafted limb. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna go up there, cut that out, let that free fall. If it even falls, I think it will. Then I'm gonna come back down and we're gonna take these two tops out at this elevation where the wood is probably pretty good. Some of those branches I cut off down there the fiber quality was just really good and it was super strong. This is sugar maple. Sometimes it's super strong, sometimes it isn't. It kind of depends on the tree and the season. So we're gonna depend on those hinge fibers to steer this top away from the road, that little fancy fence thing, and these two trees down here, more towards the front of my white pickup truck down there. And I think we can get away with it. I think we can get to do exactly what we want, as long as we don't try to get it to do too much. I think we can get it to land right down in there in that direction and not tear up these trees or those little bushes down there. If we fail and it goes that way, worst case scenario, it tears up those trees. Worst case scenario, it ends up in the road, but I am like 95% certain I can avoid that. So I think this is gonna be our best solution here. This one, it's got some more weight that goes out that way, so we're gonna depend on the good fiber quality for that. And it doesn't have any forward weight, so I'm gonna have to throw a rope up into it and have my ground guy pull on it. I'll probably have him pull not exactly where I want the piece to land, but more out that way to kind of counteract that limb weight that goes out over the road, and we should be able to get that piece to land in the same spot. I typically shy away from doing things like that. I would never justify something like this for the sake of getting done faster, but for safety's sake, I think that's the right solution. We could try to get a lift in here. It would give the customer a poor financial experience, and there's a lot of uncertainty. It's hard to see, but the terrain is pretty rough down there. The yard's also pretty soft, and as you can see, there's just not a lot of opportunities to get a big lift in here. I would need to get up pretty high to piece this thing out, and I don't even have the resources to rent a lift like that without spending a bunch of money. I think we've got a local spider lift company that'll rent out like an 80 or 90 footer for, I forget if it's 1,200 bucks a day or something ridiculous. So we're gonna go with plan B, and we're gonna see how the first part goes, and then we'll decide for the second part. Just to kind of show you guys what our hinge fiber quality is like, I'm gonna cut this branch off. It's hanging out over those little bushes down there, so I'm gonna swing it away, and you'll get to see how well it works. A lot of sideways swings. Oh, I still hit the bushes. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a really poor example. Let me try again here. A little more fatter wood. I also won't open the hinge up as much so it breaks off while it has sideways momentum. Well, that wasn't much better. Maybe this wasn't a good example to show you. Let me cut this stub off here. But those branches did hold on for a while, and you did see some lateral movement before they came down. So the way they bounced and hit the ground and then laid over onto the bushes was not ideal, but we're not gonna have that problem with these two tops. Well, we're up here at this grafted branch. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll install a pull rope. There, that one didn't hit the bushes. Got another piece coming down. And we're gonna cut this nice and slowly. Because that was probably holding these two tops together a little bit. That's not a fun feeling. Alrighty. We're good. Wow, man, I'm really glad I'm not rigging. Okay, send me up that 1/2-inch rope, that blue one. It's funny how you get over some kind of dangerous spot like that, and all of a sudden you get really hyper aware of how much the tree moves. A little bit further changing plans. I'm gonna put a rope on this side. I was thinking just letting gravity do its work here, but I don't think a pull rope's gonna hurt, so I'm gonna go ahead and install it here. It's not up as high as I would like, but I'm not going no higher. All right, I'm gonna need you to send me the big saw real quick. Alrighty, since we cut that grafted branch out that was connecting these two pieces and holding them together a little bit, this little gap opened up, and if I have my ground man down there, pull on the rope, you can see this gap move. It grows and shrinks, which means we're flexing down there. So give that a little tug down there. Oh yeah, we don't like that. So all the more reason to be doing what we're doing here. I'm gonna keep my lanyard on this side, because I believe that this one is a little bit more stable. We're gonna make our cut right in here. I'm gonna make a probably standard 1/3 face cut, because I think that this piece is strong enough still. I don't think there's a lot of decay up in here, though there could be a cavity with that scar there and this one here, but we'll see what we get into, and then we'll go straight into the back cut, because I don't like hanging out with this thing halfway cut up here at all. We're gonna aim exactly where I want this to fall, right out towards the pickup truck there. Gonna trim that up a little. Do have a little bit of cavity we're working with there, but nothing crazy. Alrighty, here we go. And pull. That worked out mighty swell. Not perfect, we did end up a little bit back towards the rear of the truck there. But again, you don't want to get too greedy when trying to make fibers work for you. You don't want to be pointing it way out there towards where we were pulling with the rope just to have the fibers completely fail partway through the swing and put the tree right there. That would be no good. Well, we took all the weight off of this side of this union, and this gap did not close up, which is kind of what I expected it to do. I expected it to close because I figured this is the heavier leaning piece. And so once we took the weight off of it, that would shut back up, but I don't think it did at all. So that means that this thing still got quite a bit of lean on it, and I'm thinking that once we take the weight out of this thing, maybe they'll close, maybe they won't. Maybe the tree is just in such a sad state that that's going to be its natural resting position. We won't know until we get the weight off, but seeing that makes me think that it's worth getting a little more pulling power on this top, because it leans back and it's got all that limb weight. So I'm gonna go down and help set up the GRCS way out over there, and we're gonna pull from there. Well, I'm on the ground now to help Groundy set up some of the pulling stuff, and this is how close we got to our plants. Couldn't have been any better. Glad it wasn't a high value target. I wouldn't have felt very good about landing that close to something expensive. All right, here's our pull rope set up from the ground. There's our tree, there's our top way over there. Rope comes all the way over here. Having a pull anchor from a long ways away gives us a better rope angle, which applies the force to the tree better. So we try to get as far away as we can. Come over here to this mulberry stub that somebody so kindly left us to work with today. Got ourselves a block on there, going straight down into the GRCS. If you're not familiar with one of these, the capstan winch, when this turns, the rope wraps up on a drum here and unwraps off of it here, so you can infinitely wind up the rope and never have the rope pile up on itself. We have this fancy drill to pull it with, so we can pull pretty fast and hard. Not that we're gonna rely on pulling fast, but it is helpful to know that if things don't look like they're exactly what we want, we can pull probably faster than a fellow with a 5-to-1 or something like that can. So I'm gonna hop back up in the tree and we're gonna get this top on the ground. Alrighty, we're back up here in the hot seat. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this stub off at a nice angle because I don't want this thing to fall, have this butt get hung up on this stub, and then turn this whole top upside down and end up more tips down in a bad way that wants to kick it back towards the road or something like that. So we're just gonna cut that off as a precautionary thing, and then we'll get to tipping that thing over. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. Give me a little bit of pre-tension. That's good. I can feel that moving me, so we're flexing below me, which we don't want to do too much of that. That can be really bad. If we load up the tree below the cut, this top of the tree will want to spring back, and that could send this piece flying off, and I'm obviously tied to it, so that would be bad. So we don't want to load things up too much. We're going to make our cut, then we're going to see how that cut reacts. Might have him pull more, might have him pull less. Well, we can't have him pull less, but might have him pull more, might have him just stay where he's at. Depending on how much stretch is in the rope, there might be enough stretch to pull it over. This is going to make this electric saw really nice because I can talk over it while it's running, and he can hear me as opposed to a gas saw. Kind of like that feature of things. Okay, we're looking good. We don't have any movement yet. Go ahead and pull some more. Okay, stop. Okay, we've got no traffic. I'm going to go ahead. Go ahead and pull. There it is. Well, I'd say that went about as well as it could have. Landed right there. Didn't end up with any issues. Didn't touch either of the flower beds. Didn't touch anything. Perfect. As you can see here, our gap did close up a little bit. It's still not all the way tight, which is interesting, but it did close up a little bit, which means that the weight on this side was holding it out a little bit, which makes sense. Well, the next thing here is we gotta get this piece down. I want to solve this side of the tree while I still have my high tying point over there. So I want to get down below where this crack is, so I've got a solid piece that goes as one solid piece. I don't have to worry about it coming apart on me. So that's unfortunately going to make it too long to land flat, but maybe if we give it a good pull with the pull rope, we can get it to rotate a little bit faster and not tear up the yard too bad. We got the rope pre-tensioned pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and make my cuts. Look at the chips this thing is making. This is a beast of a saw. There we go, good cut. Here goes our back cut now. Pull that over. Hey, it landed pretty close to flat. I don't think it tore things up too bad down there. All right, I can let gravity do what it wants to with these and get them to go in the right spot. Don't need a pull rope anymore. Very nice. As you saw there, this saw demands a little more respect in the cut. It's got more torque in the low end when you pull the trigger. And if it's grabbing wood in that kerf, it's throwing you around a little bit. Oh, I killed the battery. Alrighty, we're back in business. Got two 12-volt batteries on here. This saw's supposed to make like, I think they said somewhere north of 6 horsepower with these batteries on it. Ooh, that was a smidge too short. Shame on me. Alright, we're up here for last top. Got my climbing rope pulled out and a pull line set. We're gonna land this thing right out there as close to those spruce trees as we can. So go ahead and pull. Pow! That worked out really well. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. All we gotta do now is chunk down some pieces and tip the stem over. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, I overcut my hinge a little bit. That's why that wanted to do that. That was terrible. Oh, my bar was too short. That's why it wouldn't fall off of there when I was sucking it through. Alrighty, here we're on the ground. We got this stem left to topple over. So we got, what do we have here? Half of our batteries left. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll see if we can do it with this saw. I did bring my gas saws just in case, but it'd be nice to do it with this one, see what it's made out of. Ooh, that's not the prettiest face cut. This face cut all tuned up. Alright, that should do us. I want to finish on the high side, so we'll start our cut here. Oh, we're down to 1 bar of battery. We'll see if it makes it. Man, that thing is vicious in the cut. Well, if you ignore my poorly cut hinge, you could say that situation went pretty well. I'm mighty impressed with this little saw. It did really well here, performed well. I went through a set of 8 amp hour batteries, which we used on the ground a little bit to do a little cutting down here before it went up in the tree. And then this set of batteries, this is a set of 12-ohs, and it got us through to the last cut here. If you want a chance to buy one of these things, they've just come out. They're available now. There's a link in the description below. If you're thinking about buying one, you choose to use that link. It helps support the channel, which helps me make videos like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you next time.